started. Again, our new topic is about making predictions with proportions, and you can use a proportion to make predictions of events on larger scale by looking at the smaller event. So the first example we have is if you're just looking at one class in a school, and there's 12 girls in a class of 25 students, but you want to predict how many girls there are in the entire school if there's 250 students altogether. So how would you solve? And the answer is you could set up a proportions. So I see the cheerleader cheering for proportions. She's very excited about using proportions. Remember with proportions, you want to figure out the words first of all too that you're going to do. So the words that we see in this one are girls and what? Students. Girls and students. So we're going to do girls over students. And then let's fill out some numbers. So we have 12 girls out of 25 students in the class. And then what about the other side? We need an X somewhere. Where should our X go, do you think? John Dillon?
On the top.
Yeah, on the top, because we're trying to find the number of girls out of 250 total students. So this one, you could cross multiply and divide like we did last unit. Or this one, you could also just kind of use common sense, like to get from 25 to 250, you just multiply by 10. So then what would 12 times 10 be if you just add a 0? You get 120 students. Yeah, so if there's 12 out of 25, girls in a class, then if you look at the whole school of 250 students, you'd expect that about 120 of them are probably girls. So it's not like an exact science, but you're just, again, making a prediction. So let's try some examples below. If you have a spinner like the one that Tommy came up and spun earlier, and there's 10 spaces numbered 1 through 10, what is the probability that it would land on the number 3? So the probability would be what? 1 out of 10, yep. And so now let's set up our proportion for number 2. If you spun the spinner 30 times, how many times would you expect to land on 3? So who can tell us how you would set up this? I mean, you might just know the answer anyway, but how would you set up a proportion for this, though? It could be 1/10 is the probability, right? So 1 over 10 is equal to what? X over 30, right. And then 10 times 3 is 30. 1 times 3 is 3 times. Let's see if we'll get someone else here. Let's get Wilton to tell us how you would set up the proportion for if you wanted to find 100 times. If you spun it 100 times. So what was the probability of spinning a 3 in number 1? Yeah, so 1 out of 10 is equal to what? Oh, it was equal to what did you say? Well, yeah, it's going to be 10%, but we're not looking for that percent. We're looking for how many times. So it's going to be X over what? Over 100. Yep, and then the answer is going to be 10 times 10 is 100, and 1 times 10 is 10. So you should get it 10 times.